A bankrupt studio, empty pockets, rejected ideas, and a little cartoon mouse no one believed in. It was supposed to be just another failed dream, another forgotten name in Hollywood's graveyard of broken artists. But instead it became the seed of an empire that would one day dominate childhood, reshape entertainment, and change the way the world dreams. Yet the road to this empire was anything but magical. It was paved with betrayals, crushing debt, and battles that nearly destroyed everything before it began. Behind the smiling faces of princesses and heroes was a man haunted by obsession, a perfectionist who demanded the impossible and refused to accept defeat. For every castle built, there were storms of controversy. For every hit film, there were whispers of exploitation, censorship, and monopoly. Competitors tried to tear it down, governments questioned its power, and workers rebelled against the man who wanted everything perfect. And still, the dream grew larger. From a single mouse to billion-dollar franchises, from one theme park to a global kingdom of magic, this story is not just about fantasy, it's about ambition, power, and the hidden price of chasing immortality. It is the story of a man who lost everything, more than once, and still built one of the most powerful empires in human history. A man who turned failure into fairy tales, and fairy tales into reality. His name was Walt Disney. The story begins far from the glittering lights of Hollywood in the cold winters of Chicago, where a boy named Walter Elias Disney was born in 1901. His father, Elias Disney, was the son of Irish immigrants, a man who drifted from job to job, from orange farming in Florida to working on railroads and carpentry contracts, but success never truly found him. His mother, Flora Call, a schoolteacher from Ohio, became the steady anchor of the family. The Disneys moved constantly, from Chicago's crowded streets to the quiet farm in Marceline, Missouri, and later to Kansas City. Life was tough, money was scarce, and Walt and his brother Roy often woke at 4 a.m. to deliver newspapers before school, a grind that left them exhausted and Walt's grades slipping. But there was one thing that kept him alive: drawing. On scraps of paper with borrowed pencils, he sketched farm animals, neighbors, and the cartoons he saw in newspapers. At McKinley High School in Chicago, he found his escape, illustrating the school paper with patriotic themes and war cartoons. At night, he enrolled at the Chicago Academy of Fine Arts, training in commercial art. Still restless, Walt longed for adventure. At just 16, he forged his age to join the Red Cross and was shipped to France not as a soldier, but as an ambulance driver. Returning to America, he chased work as a commercial artist in Kansas City. That's where he discovered the new magic of moving pictures and began experimenting with crude animations. With a friend, a brilliant draftsman named Ub Iwerks, Walt founded his first company, Laugh-O-Gram Films, producing short animated fairy tales. But poor management and debts crushed the studio. At just 22, Walt was bankrupt. Defeated but not broken, he packed a suitcase, carried a few drawings, and boarded a train west. With only $40 in his pocket, he arrived in California. In 1923, together with his brother Roy, Walt founded the Disney Brothers studio in a tiny rented office. No investors, no safety nets. Just two brothers, a second-hand camera, and a dream too big for the time. Their first breakthrough was Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, but betrayal struck when Universal stole the character and most of Walt's staff. In 1928, audiences watched a mischievous black and white character steer a steamboat to the rhythm of synchronized sound. Steamboat Willie didn't just entertain, it revolutionized animation. Mickey Mouse was born. The world fell in love. Mickey became more than a cartoon, he was a cultural icon. But Walt wasn't finished. He pushed further, risking everything on an impossible project, the world's first full-length animated feature. Critics called it Disney's folly, convinced no one would sit through an 80-minute cartoon. Yet in 1937, when Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs premiered, audiences were mesmerized. the film shattered records and redefined cinema itself. From the farms of Missouri to a bankrupt Kansas studio, from a $40 train ride to the birth of Mickey Mouse, Walt Disney had transformed failures into stepping stones. These early years didn't just build a company, they forged the legend of a man who turned sketches into icons and impossibility into destiny. By the 1950s, Walt Disney had already conquered the world of animation. Mickey Mouse, Snow White, and Fantasia had made him a household name. But Walt was restless. He wanted something bigger, a dream beyond the screen. He envisioned a place where families could step inside his stories, where fantasy felt more real than reality itself. That vision became Disneyland. To fund it, Walt did the unthinkable. He mortgaged his own home and poured in his life savings. Roy Disney, ever the cautious brother, and even Walt's wife Lillian doubted the idea, but Walt was certain, "My park will not be like the dirty, unsafe carnivals. It will be a world of happiness." On July 17, 1955, Disneyland opened its gates to the world, and it was chaos. Counterfeit tickets had doubled the crowd, rides broke down, toilets failed, and the summer asphalt melted women's high heels. The press mocked it as Walt's nightmare. Yet within weeks, the laughter of children on Main Street and the fireworks over Sleeping Beauty's castle silenced the critics. For Walt, Disneyland was not about profit. "The tail does not wag the dog," he once said. Experience came first, money second. He even declared, "This is the real world. The fantasy is outside these gates." In the 1950s, America a nation divided by segregation, Disneyland stood as an inclusive dreamland, open to all. But Walt's imagination didn't stop there. He began to sketch a futuristic city, not just another park, but an experimental prototype community of tomorrow. It would be a living laboratory where technology, design, and human innovation shaped the future. Then tragedy struck. In 1966, before EPCOT could be realized, Walt Disney died of lung cancer at just 65. The man who had built an empire of dreams was gone, leaving behind an unfinished vision. His brother Roy stepped forward to steady the kingdom. As a tribute, he renamed the Florida project Walt Disney World, dedicating it with Mickey Mouse at his side.
Walt Disney World is a tribute to the philosophy and the life of Walter Elias Disney.
Without Walt's daring vision, the company began to drift. The 1970s and 80s became a dark chapter. Creative stagnation set in. Films like The Black Cauldron flopped spectacularly, and critics declared Disney's golden age over. Rival studios like Warner Brothers and Universal surged ahead, while corporate raiders circled like vultures. In 1984, financier Saul Steinberg nearly succeeded in breaking Disney apart, selling it off piece by piece, a hostile takeover that would have dismantled the very empire Walt built. And it wasn't just the films, even the dream parks began to stumble. The most infamous case came in 1992, when Euro Disney, today's Disneyland Paris, opened to disastrous results. French critics called it a cultural Chernobyl. Attendance was far below expectations, debts skyrocketed, and within 2 years the park was drowning in billions of dollars in losses. The empire Walt built now stood on the edge of collapse more than once. What had begun as a kingdom of dreams risked becoming just another fading brand, broken apart by financiers or sunk by its own ambition. The question echoed louder than ever. Without Walt Disney, could the magic survive? By the mid-1980s, Disney was in crisis. The magic was fading, the films were flopping, and Wall Street vultures were circling to tear the company apart. Donald Duck marched as a war mascot, and the satirical short Der Führer's Face even won an Academy Award. Yet after the war, debt crushed the studio so heavily that Bank of America had to bail them out. Survival was always part of Disney's story. In 1984, Michael Eisner and Frank Wells took charge, sparking a creative rebirth. What followed was called the Disney Renaissance. Beginning with The Little Mermaid in 1989, Disney unleashed a wave of animated classics: Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and The Lion King. These weren't just box office hits, they became cultural milestones. Beauty and the Beast even became the first animated film ever nominated for an Academy Award for Best Picture. With Broadway-style music, rich storytelling, and unforgettable characters, the magic felt alive again. Disney's empire spread across the globe. Tokyo Disneyland opened in 1983, a runaway success. But Euro Disney in 1992 faced protests, financial disaster, and critics calling it a cultural invasion of France. Over time, the parks rebounded, with Hong Kong and Shanghai later joining the Disney Kingdom, proof that Mickey Mouse now ruled every continent. Yet the true transformation came not from animation, but acquisitions. After years of feuding with Steve Jobs, Disney bought Pixar in 2006, turning a bitter rivalry into one of Hollywood's greatest alliances and making Jobs Disney's largest shareholder. In 2009, Disney shocked the world by acquiring Marvel, gaining not just characters, but an entire universe of superheroes.
Economy news: it may be the superhero deal of the decade, and the winner appears to be Disney. The company is spending $4 billion to buy Marvel, gaining control of Spider-Man, Iron Man, and the X-Men, among other big-ticket characters in the movies, and branding that goes with them.
Then came Lucasfilm in 2012, and with it, Star Wars. Finally, in 2019, Disney absorbed 21st Century Fox, swallowing hundreds of movies, TV networks, and franchises in one stroke. Fans accused Disney of endless sequels and live-action remakes, prioritizing profit over originality. Critics spoke of Disneyfication, cultures simplified and repackaged for mass consumption. Avengers, Endgame, The Force Awakens, Frozen 2, billions of dollars pouring in, proving Disney's empire was unmatched. From wartime struggles and near collapse to a rebirth of animation and an empire of acquisitions, Disney had reinvented itself into the most powerful entertainment company in history. It was no longer just a studio making cartoons, it was the studio shaping global imagination itself. Before Disney Plus launched, Disney was already on top of the world. Frozen, 2013, became a global sensation. Star Wars. The Force Awakens, 2015, revived the galaxy, and Zootopia and Moana, 2016, proved Disney animation was back. By 2018, Black Panther and Avengers, Infinity War turned Marvel into a cultural and financial juggernaut. Then came 2019, the peak of Disney's empire. Avengers: Endgame became the highest-grossing film ever, while Frozen 2, Toy Story 4, and The Lion King remake each crossed $1 billion. On top of that, Disney completed its $71 billion Fox acquisition, adding Avatar, The Simpsons, and more to its vault. By 2019, Disney had already built the largest empire in entertainment history. But that year, it made its boldest gamble yet: the launch of Disney Plus, a streaming service designed to go head-to-head with Netflix, Amazon, and Apple. The gamble paid off fast. Tens of millions subscribed within months, but success brought new battles. Fans accused Disney of censorship and political overreach. Workers complained of low wages behind the magic, while families fumed over skyrocketing ticket prices at the parks. Then came a storm inside the kingdom. In 2020, legendary CEO Bob Iger stepped down, handing the throne to Bob Chapek. Almost immediately, chaos followed.
Big news for Disney, announcing a new CEO for the company. Bob Chapek will be the CEO of Disney effective immediately. He most recently served as chairman of the Parks, Experiences and Products Division. Now, Bob Iger, longtime CEO of Disney, will be assuming the role of executive chairman.
Chapek's leadership clashed with Disney's creative teams, while his handling of the pandemic and a bitter clash with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis over the Don't Say Gay bill turned Disney into a political battlefield. By late 2022, the pressure was too much and Iger returned, as if the company itself had called back its savior.
And some news tonight about the leadership of our parent company, Disney. Bob Iger is returning as CEO, effective immediately, and has agreed to serve in the position for 2 years.
2023 became a year of rebuilding and risk. Disney announced a merger of Disney Plus and Hulu into one app, fighting back against Netflix's dominance. In India, it struck a game-changing deal with Reliance, creating Jio Hotstar, one of the world's largest streaming platforms. The theme parks too marched forward. World of Frozen opened in Hong Kong Disneyland in 2023, followed by the breathtaking Frozen Kingdom in Tokyo Disney Sea in 2024. Billions in new investments were promised, including an ESPN streaming service that could merge the worlds of fantasy and live sports under the same empire. Yet not everything sparkled. In 2023, Iger announced 7,000 layoffs, sparking outrage that the people behind the magic were paying the price.
The Walt Disney Company is the latest big company to announce layoffs. CEO Bob Iger has announced the company will cut about 7,000 jobs as part of a, quote, significant transformation.
Now, in 2025, Disney stands at a crossroads. Its empire is worth more than $212 billion, spanning every continent, every medium, and every generation. New technologies from AI-driven animation to virtual reality theme parks promise to push imagination further than ever before. And in August 2025, Disney even announced that the standalone Hulu app will shut down, with all its content moving into Disney Plus by 2026, proof that the company is reshaping itself for a new digital era. A future where Disney must decide, will it keep creating magic or simply sell it? A century ago, Walt Disney boarded a train with just $40 and a dream. Today, his name commands an empire worth billions, one that shapes childhoods, controls global franchises, and defines modern entertainment itself. But with great power comes greater questions. Has Disney remained the home of magic? Or has it become just another corporate machine? Is it still creating stories that inspire wonder, or simply repackaging nostalgia for profit? And perhaps the most haunting question of all, if Walt were alive today, would he even recognize the kingdom that carries his name? The answers lie not in the past, but in what comes next. What do you think? Is Disney still the house of magic, or is the magic fading? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed this journey through the empire of dreams and controversies, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.